Hey all, welcome to part 45 of my WWE Smackdown Shut Your Mouth playthrough. As I said before, this is going to be a bit of a longer part today. We are at Insurrection in, what month is it? May? Yeah, it's May. The month of May for this game, which is the first British pay-per-view of the year, and as you can see, this is going to be a long part because I have two matches tonight, one of which is going to be defending my newly won Intercontinental title, and the other one is a random tag team match. I don't have much to say about that. But I'm also in Hell in a Cell here, and we've seen Hell in a Cell. It was just the six-man match. This time it's one-on-one, so maybe I'll get to do more with it. We'll find out as soon as we get to that. Anyway, it's been a little while since my last part, and there's some reasons for that. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever. I celebrate Christmas, so I'm going to keep saying Merry Christmas. I don't care what people say, because, the only people who really say it are the asshole social justice warriors on Tumblr and the dickhead atheists out there, and I'm not saying all atheists are dickheads, but the ones that are the ones who are always like, oh, don't say Merry Christmas, not everyone celebrates that. I've heard people say, oh no, it's the Muslims that say that, and the Buddhists and all those other people. No, they don't really care. I mean, maybe if I went to their country and started spouting things off, but the ones that live here in Canada or in the United States, they don't care too much. It's the atheists that have to make a big scene out of everything that are the problem. And the funny thing is, most of them celebrate Christmas anyway. I mean, they'll go on and say, oh, it's because it's not a Christian holiday, it was originally a pagan holiday. And I'm like, paganism is a religion too. Atheism does not mean not Christianity. It means not religious at all. But a lot of those straw atheists out there don't get that. Anyway, rant over. Let's talk about the game a little bit. We found Jazz here, and I got to a little bit of a shouting match there just because I never really liked Jazz, but that's because when I was a kid I only looked at the women based on their appearance, and Jazz was not the prettiest girl out there. But I was young and I was stupid. What does this do? It puts me in a match right away. And who is that match against? Edge, my tag team partner later in the night, and he is Jazz managing. So I don't have two matches tonight, I have three, and that's why this part is only Insurrection, and that's why it goes over 20 minutes. This match was actually pretty good, just because of how it ends. I'm pretty sure I actually lose this match, but I can't remember for sure. But it has one of those moments, just one of those times when you're playing a game and things work out just so perfectly that you can't be mad that you lost. I know I always go on about the triple threat I had earlier that had The Undertaker and that it was Steve Austin in it, right? I can't remember what part back that was. But Austin flipped me off and gave me the stunner, and I just couldn't be mad about that. Alright, so I know one thing I said was I was originally going to do Man's Winter of Wrestling. I was going to do two videos before the year ended. I decided to change that because I'm only doing 4 games for this one, and I'm like, well, I shouldn't do them all so quickly, otherwise it's just going to be a very dry couple of months. The next game is going to be Showdown Legends of Wrestling, and I'm going to get that up soon. I need to record it, and I need to do the voiceovers, but I'll get it up soon. And that game is special for the reason that it's the first game I'm looking at that's not a very good wrestling game. I mean, every other game I've looked at has been, at the very worst, it's been just good. Not great, but just good. The Legends of Wrestling series, though, has been, at best, it's been mediocre. And that was just the second game for having an awesome season mode. Or story mode, career mode, I forget what it was called. I don't actually own the first 2 Legends of Wrestling games, but I've played them. I only own Showdown Legends of Wrestling, and it's arguably the worst of the bunch. Although you could maybe argue that the first game is worse. I'll talk more about it when I get to the Wee Man's Winter of Wrestling video. But that's why it hasn't gone up yet, when I did say that I was originally going to get it up between Christmas and New Year's. Anyway, in addition to all the holiday festivities, I was going to start getting videos up after Christmas. I mean, it is a busy week that week because both my grandparents have birthdays too. But this Christmas in particular, just a few days after, I think it was on the 30th, we had to put our dog down, who we have owned since I was a little kid. She was 16 years old, and it did mess me up emotionally for a couple days. I'm better now, but those first couple of days were really harsh. It was bad timing too. I mean, New Year's Eve, I didn't want to go out on New Year's Eve. I just stayed in, watched some movies. I did get all caught up on the Marvel movies though. So I'm back all caught up with the Marvel Universe, so Guardians of the Galaxy, which I will say right now, it's in the top 3 of the Marvel movies. It is, for me, Avengers is number 1, Iron Man is number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy is number 3. That was a really, really good movie, and I have to recommend it for anyone who hasn't seen it. If you're not sure, just because it's not one of the big-name Marvel heroes, it's not Captain America, it's not Iron Man, it's not Thor, it's not Spider-Man, it's really, really good. They really pulled it off well. And I mean, that's kind of what I expected. I expected one of two things. It was either going to be a massive flop or it was going to be a great success just for being so different. And it was a great success. Obviously, the next movie in the Marvel Universe is going to be the Avengers. Avengers 2, I should say. Which I'm really pumped up for. And after seeing the extended trailer where everyone's trying to lift the hammer, I'm calling it right now. Sometime near the end, Captain America is going to pick up Mjolnir, and he's going to just clobber Ultron with it. And it's going to be a glorious moment. There. That was what I was talking about. I ran right into the spear, and I could not be mad about how I lost this match. I mean, that was just so perfect. I was just going for a running move, you know. I mean, if you just play it out in your head, my guy is angry, he wants to get to Edge, and he runs right into the spear, which isn't actually Edge's default finisher in this game. I think he has both executions as default finishers. Or maybe it's an execution and an educator, I'm not too sure on that. But I changed it to the spear because that was, he's always used the spear as his finisher. It just took them a long time to put it in the games as one of his finishers. He always had the executions or the educator or the, his complete shot. I forget what it's called, but who cares? I don't like the complete shot. I think I've been through that before, but I think it's the worst finishing move out there. A lot of people say it's the overdrive or the ozone or something like that. Nah, it's the complete shot. At least the overdrive looks cool. Complete shot is just falling backwards. Boring. Anyway, we've got my Intercontinental Championship match. This is my first time defending the title. My first opponent is William Regal. We are in Hell in a Cell, and we're going to see how this goes. Maybe I'll get to play around a bit more with the cell, show you all the different interactions, because in the 6-man match, I kind of wanted to stay near everyone just to see who would win and lose, just in case. I wasn't trying to win that match, obviously, but I did. But we went through all that in the Royal Rumble where I lost to Triple H, and I decided, you know, I'm not ready for this title yet. What I want to do is I want to win the Royal Rumble and then win the title at WrestleMania. So we're hopefully going to see that. I'm not saying we will. A lot of things can happen. My poor playing could come into play. Maybe I won't get put in the Royal Rumble for some reason. We'll find out. That's a good ways away. We are still in the month of May here, obviously, and we're at the English pay-per-view, which takes part between the first and second weeks. I actually only have up to the month of May recorded. I need to get on that, record some new footage here. I am back in class right now. I go in every Thursday night and occasionally on a Saturday, so I still have plenty of free time here. Not some, I do have plenty of free time here. I am looking for work, it's just everything's only starting to open up again, so I'm not really expecting anything a little bit later in January. But we'll see what happens. I mean, even if I do find work, it doesn't take much to record a month of gameplay. It's usually not even an hour of gameplay 1 month. So in theory, if I wanted to get through the season mode, if I just wanted to sit down one day, didn't take any breaks, you could get through this whole 2-year season mode. In even less time if you took the movie offer that you get. Okay, so to get out of the cell here, you run into the door. Yeah, you run into it, he bangs into it, and then kicks it open. There are no weapons in the Hell in a Cell match. That wasn't something they added until later. If you try to look under the ring, you're just going to get a your guy's just going to look at you and go, eh. Oh, right through the announce table. Really fun thing to do is to put someone on the announce table, then climb the cell and drop on them. It's pretty hard to do because the computer's going to get up way too quickly. But you can also throw them off the cell, all Undertaker and Mankind's Hell in a Cell match. You can also fall off by accident, and you bounce around all the time. You can climb down, though. You don't have to just run off the edge and bounce off of it. That does massive damage, but it does a lot more in later games. Especially in Here Comes the Pain. The damage falling off the cell does is ridiculous. But that's because a lot of the things are broken in that game and do so much more damage than they need to. Like Sledgehammer, when you choke someone out with it. That can do damage to any part of the body, and you just have to do it a few times to beat your opponent down. It's really ridiculous and a really cheap way to win. But that just goes to show how broken Here Comes the Pain is. And that's something I never really went into when I did my little mini vlog review of the game. It's a very broken, unbalanced game. I mean, in a lot of ways it's very balanced, and in a lot of ways it's not balanced at all. In ways it is balanced, it's like everyone seems to have an overall that reflects who they are. Like, the guys who are big stars are going to have 90s, and the guys who are not big stars are going to be in the 60s and low 70s. That makes sense. But then or not everyone, but there's some unblockable moves. There's a lot of moves that do too much damage. It's something that I can talk about more when I eventually get to a playthrough of that game, but I'm probably not going to get to it for a while. There are other PS2 games I want to play first. I'm not sure if... Well, I know I'm getting into Dragon Ball Z after I get all the Fire Emblem parts I have uploaded. I'm going to probably start recording some Dragon Ball Z Budokai footage. Because I'm not doing the review anymore. Ooh, and just to get back on top there, you can knock someone through that hole in the middle. I think you gotta slam someone down on it twice. Maybe that's later games and you only have to do it once here. And they'll fall through, and that's some pretty good damage too. And as you can see, I lost the match. I have been the Intercontinental Champion for like 1 week, 1.5 weeks, and I lost the title already. William Regal. Well, fortunately, I have another match against him. It's not for the title, but I have another match against him. And we will just have to see how that goes. I'm 2-0 right now. Sorry about the silence there. Getting a phone call, and I was already on a roll, and I didn't want to lose this take. So, we'll just say that, someone complained in an earlier part that I should shut up during the entrances. Well, I shut up during the entrances of this part. Are you happy? I hope you are, because it's not happening again. We are still not even through those entrances. So hey, I've got my tag team match here, and I believe Edge is the European champion, so I will be teaming up with him to take on the Intercontinental champion and Jeff Hardy, who is on his own for some reason. I don't know if that's because the Hardy Boys are in different brands, but that's not something I can obviously check right now, can't. The only problem now is that I kind of lost my train of thought about where I was going. Yep, it's Royal Rumble season. It's January now, so Rumble is coming up. And, it seemed kind of like Roman Reigns is going to be the winner for a while, but then Daniel Bryan announced he was going to be in the match. It's obviously either going to be Reigns or Bryan. I mean, one of them is going to win it. I've heard people say that, it could be Dean Ambrose or Dolph Ziggler. I don't think it's going to be either of them. The thing is, though, if Bryan does not win the Rumble, there's very little they can do to make the guy who does win it seem to be a good guy. He's just going to get booed into oblivion. Oh, did I just have my mic muted for all that time?
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, oops. Well, that was my bad. I was on a roll earlier, too. I don't know how that happened. This thing's got such a sensitive mic muting button. We're just gonna take this take. We're just gonna deal with it. I hope it wasn't muted from the start. I'll find out, but I really don't want to do it again, so if there's a bit of silence before this part, and I had my mic muted, well, you got to see all the entrances. So we got this tag team match here, which is me and Edge, who's the European champion, taking on Jeff Hardy and William Regal, who's the new Intercontinental champion. And there's not much else to say there. I believe we've seen Jeff in action before, we saw Edge in action already. We saw Regal and myself in action already. Well, we've seen me in action like this entire playthrough. And there's been very few weeks where I haven't had a match. Anyway, I was talking that it's Royal Rumble season, and we're talking about real life now, because we're only in May in the game, not in January. And it looks like it's either going to be Roman Reigns or Daniel Bryan primed to win this match. And honestly, if it's not Bryan who wins this match, the guy who does win is just going to be booed out of the building. It's just going to be a repeat of what happened last year with Batista. The only difference now is that Bryan actually is in the match, and he wasn't just people speculating. I mean, I know a lot of people say, it's just the people on the internet who are talking. Not with Daniel Bryan. With guys like Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, yeah, maybe it is a vocal minority, but not with Daniel Bryan. This guy has captivated the audience. He is the guy to be right now. There's very few people more popular than Daniel Bryan at this moment. Also, I just hit the ref with a sledgehammer. I'm very lucky that I don't get disqualified here. But I mean, if Roman Reigns wins, he's just gonna get booed entirely. I guess maybe if Dolph Ziggler or Dean Ambrose were the winners of the Royal Rumble, they would be okay. But that's not very likely, I don't think. It's most likely just going to be Daniel Bryan here. Or Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns, I should say. Now, I know they want Reigns to be the new guy, and I don't hate Roman Reigns. I know a lot of people suddenly hate him just because they're trying to Superman push him all the way, like they did like they have done with John Cena. And I don't hate Roman Reigns. I don't particularly like him a lot. I just don't hate him. I mean, he's okay to watch when he's in a wrestling match. He's painful to watch him talk. But oh well, we'll just have to see what happens come January 20-something. I forget what the date for it actually is, but it's later in the month and it's after my midterm. I know that. I'm not looking forward to that. My midterm, not. I'm always looking forward to the Royal Rumble. The only time it's really disappointed me in the last 5 years was the 2011 40-man Rumble. That one was pretty bad. But man, that 2013 Royal Rumble, that was a good one. That was a great Royal Rumble. I mean, even if it was really predictable that John Cena was going to win, that match was just amazing. That was a really good intercepted Regal there. But hey, I did get one win tonight. I may not still have my championship, but I do have my pride. If I was a good guy, then I'd probably be happy about this. But I'm a bad guy now. I hate these people. I should have won those matches. You guys cheated. Type of shit. Well, unfortunately, because I lost my train of thought, I have been reduced to incoherent rambling. But I'm glad this part's almost over. There's only like less than a minute left. So the next part is part 46, which I believe just rushes through the rest of the month of May. Unless this is part 47, I'm not sure, but we'll find out later. I will see you guys in part 46 when we get to that. Alright, I get an unlockable here. Some new moves. Now I'll see ya. Now I will see you later.